Earth changes and solutions. We are experiencing a grand cycle where our solar system is moving to a new place in the universe with more available light and energy. Many refer to this as the photon belt. Russian research has proven the leading edge of our heliosphere is glowing with up to 1,000 times more light as we move into this highly charged area. The planets within our solar system are also emitting up to 3 times more light and are all undergoing atmospheric changes. Our sun is also changing. What once was a yellow-orange sun is now white. The hydrogen-helium mixture is changing in the megasolar cycle with its unprecedented CMES. Coronal mass ejections and solar flares has continued to increase far beyond any 11-year cycle. In fact, a whole new cycle is starting in 2007, which would be much more intense than the last solar cycle. Scientists are expecting to lose many of their satellites, even more severe weather, and an increase in number and severity in tornadoes and hurricanes. How does this affect the Earth? When the Earth is hit by a CME or solar flare, the first effects are to bioelectric fields around the physical embodiment. Stanford research has proven when monkeys were exposed to changes in the magnetic fields, they exhibited behavior from comatose to self-mutilation. We are experiencing massive shifts in the magnetic fields which reverberate when hit by a CME or solar flare. Major changes throughout history have been tied into solar flare activity. Some of the symptoms are extreme mood swings, emotional outbursts, sometimes followed by extreme lethargy. This has a major effect on relationships and society in general. There is a grand uncovering of all that is hidden. All of the injustices and deceptions will rise to the surface along with old wounds, traumas and wrong conclusions from past experience. There will be an acceleration of the action/reaction principle or karma. You will see kingdoms built on this horizon fall, especially within the political arena. Whenever you create a position of power outside of self, that position will be sought out by men/women who lust for power over others in ignorance of the real power, which is to serve and empower the individual. Advanced cultures choose their leadership according to their spiritual advancement and record of service to others. Our system worships those who have amassed wealth and power, unfortunately in most cases at the expense of humanity and the Earth, in direct violation of universal law. Then we wonder what happened to our freedom, our prosperity, and our environment. These social changes are followed by erratic weather, an increase in tornado and hurricane activity, along with a warming up or drought in some places and a cooling down or floods and freezes in others. The jet streams are also affected, which move the weather patterns, which in turn affect crop production. What once grew in some places will grow in others. Deserts will bloom, etc. As the energy is absorbed through the poles, the Earth begins to overheat. The overheating causes pressure which has to be released through volcanoes and earthquakes. When you add the greenhouse effect caused by man-made emissions, we aggravate this cycle, causing more heat to be trapped within the system. The undersea volcanoes are heating up the oceans, creating changes in the ocean currents. Changes in the ocean currents create changes in the weather and climate of whole continents. The massive storm and cloud cover along with volcanic eruptions creates a natural shielding effect. It is the Earth's way of defending herself and adjusting to the new energies. There is another unnatural shielding effect known as chemtrails, a joint Canadian and American secret military operation which now involves other countries, which is crisscrossing the skies with what seem to be controls in X patterns. What was once blue sky turns into a gray toxic artificial cloud cover, exposing the people and the environment to deadly carcinogens which are in the chemical makeup of this aerosol. Spraying is adding to the already polluted environment. This will only accelerate the cancers, open the door to more pathogens and pandemic disease, along with shortening the lifespan of humanity. The short-term gain of cooling down the planet in order to continue to burn fossil fuels is very short-sighted and will have long-term effects which will be disastrous. There have been many predictions and prophecies concerning the destiny of humanity and the Earth. They come from every culture, every religion, and they all share a common theme. Some have come to pass, some have not. Timing is the hardest aspect of prophecy due to the visions in most cases not coming with it. There are changes in the collective consciousness, divine intervention, which includes a greater family of men some call extraterrestrials or intradimensionals, along with ancient civilizations which exist this day on the interior. These entities have technologies beyond your wildest dreams and, if circumstances allow, can intervene. Universal law does not permit any grand intervention due to trespassing on free will and interfering with soul evolution. The more we choose to evolve and operate within the universal principles necessary for a healthy society and environment and initiate contact, the more we can receive assistance. We gain wisdom through experience. For every action there is a reaction, and as a civilization we have not acted in the highest and best good of our fellow man/woman or nature. In accordance with universal law, these negative actions have reactions or consequences. We have become a society ruled by greed. The lust for power and wealth has hijacked the noble vision upon which this country was founded. We have fouled the air, water and land. We are subject to up to 1,000 more toxins than our grandparents. Most city tap water has up to 850 toxins, some of which are deadly carcinogens. The oceans are dying with over 50 dead zones, some of which over 700 miles wide. Fish are disappearing. The plankton to support them is gone due to radioactive materials and petrochemicals dumped in the oceans. Whole species are disappearing and becoming extinct at an alarming rate. The rapid deforestation is also a major factor in decreased oxygen levels as well as changes in climate. The oxygen levels have dropped from 35% to 7% in some major cities. Our food has become acidic, overprocessed and laced with chemicals with little or no life force. Otto Warburg, a triple Nobel Prize winner, gave us the cure for cancer as well as a way of destroying pathogenic virus and bacteria naturally. Lowering the pH and making the body acidic lowers the oxygen levels. This creates the perfect medium for harmful pathogens, most of which are anaerobic, and the proliferation of cancer. The cancer cell is anaerobic. To reverse cancer and eliminate the harmful anaerobic pathogens, you raise the pH, becoming more alkaline, and increase the blood oxygen. As a civilization we are doing everything possible to shorten our lifespan and open the door to pandemics, most of which are genetically altered bacteria and virus coming out of our very own laboratories. Oxygen is the highest systemic antibiotic known to man. When you add the chemicals in the food, water and air along with the diminishing oxygen levels, we are on a fast track to extinction. This unsustainable lifestyle and fast track to extinction is driven by greed and ignorance. We should never create nuclear waste without the ability to render it harmless. We have not needed nuclear power or gasoline since the 40s. The technologies to provide all of our transportation and energy needs fully exist today. We have the technology to clean up the environment and end the unnecessary wars to control the oil. The only thing missing is the leadership. Unfortunately, our leadership does not operate in the highest and best good of the people and the environment. Profit for the elite. The lust for power and wealth at the expense of humanity and the earth is what is guiding our destiny. The false belief in separation, greed and competition is the foundation of today's governing forces. Ignorance of universal law due to the arrogance of the elite with its separative attitude always ends in disaster. The karmic backlash affects everyone. We have all become willing participants in our own demise to one degree or another. Now is the time to become willing participants in redirecting our own personal lives and pressure those who leave us to act in the highest and best good for humanity and the earth. There is no profit in environmental collapse, which without a course correction is our destiny. We can choose the downward spiral into social, economic and environmental collapse, which will affect everyone, the rich and the poor, which history has proven in the end to take it out on the rich, or we can take the upward spiral. Remember the revolutions, who lost their kingdoms and their heads? There is hope, and there are solutions to this dilemma that will avoid the severity of the reaction and the earth's need to cleanse. The answer has been given throughout history by sages, saints and master teachers within every culture, along with the warnings of things to come if we do not change. We have stepped outside of universal law, and if we are to continue as a civilization we have to step back into universal law. You don't have to go to college to get a degree in universal law. It is written within the heart of hearts of all humanity. It is the innermost desire of all humanity. The innermost desire of all humanity to reunite with their Creator, Spirit, Source, or whatever name you wish to give it. It is also the innermost desire to live a loving, joyous, long and prosperous life in harmony with nature. Name one person who does not desire love and joy. Name one person that desires disease, poverty, or wants to live in the poisoned environment. How many people want their families to die needlessly in unethical wars? It is all about doing what is right, opening up to an extended family and cleaning up the very platform for life without which the game is over. There is an old Cherokee saying, if it is not good for everyone, it is not good. We should not create anything or act in any way that is harmful to others. Others include all of creation. To be more definitive, here are some simple solutions to a complex problem which is complex only because we do not want to change and solve the problem. We are going to have to rise to the occasion, work together in the highest and best good of humanity and the earth if we are going to get through these tumultuous times. There are shifts in consciousness and energy that will support the upward spiral. It is up to us to initiate these changes along with the assistance on high through prayer and meditation followed by right action. 1. All government, religious and business institutions must accept and act according to the universal principles and understandings necessary for a healthy society and environment. Principles such as brother/sisterly love, universal peace, individual freedom and prosperity for all with a strong reverence for life in all forms. It is up to the people to hold these institutions accountable to these principles. Greed, profit and power over others rather than empowering the individual are no longer acceptable motives to drive our civilization's destiny. It is time for those who have been blessed with abundance to invest in the awakening and healing of humanity and the earth. We must take all measures possible in the restoration of the environment. 2. The environmentally friendly technologies must take precedence over all other technologies and need to be implemented immediately, especially where fossil fuels and nuclear generators are concerned. Your nuclear generators are flawed, have cracks and are poorly designed, producing deadly waste at an alarming rate with no solutions to render this waste inert. Global warming is here. It is on the increase and the science is there to back it up. If it continues at the same rate, we will experience more severe natural disasters in the days to come. Strong measures must be taken to ensure there is no more interference or suppression of these new technologies. 3. The military needs to redirect their energies to disaster relief and cleanup. The profit needs to be taken out of war and invested into peace and rebuilding the infrastructure of nations. This will be imperative in the days to come that all available resources return to assist in the rescue, cleanup and rebuilding efforts. The last great war will be with nature. To war with nature is to lose. We must flow with the changes and prepare on every level, physically, mentally, emotionally and spiritual. 4. It is said that food should be your medicine. Organic, soil enrichment methods need to take precedent over chemical fertilizers and pesticides. Our food needs to be fresh, natural, and free of pesticides, herbicides and preservatives which are unnatural. We need to remineralize the soil as well, which creates healthy, disease and pest-resistant crops high in vitamins and minerals. Volcanoes are nature's way of bringing minerals back to the soil. Crushed rock from specific places is another. There must be a movement back to the land, what once was called victory gardens. It is said if you want to harden a man's heart, take him out of nature. It is imperative that we reconnect with nature for our own well-being. 5. The medical and pharmaceutical industry needs a total overhaul. As long as there are enormous profits in disease, the cures will not come forward. We are not synthetic beings. We are organic beings. We heal through organic methods. There are natural and expensive miracle cures, frequency-emitting devices that accelerate healing and eliminate harmful pathogens which have been suppressed and blocked from coming forward. There are frequency devices that can wipe out a pathogen, virus or bacteria in entire cities with a flip of a switch. It is time to implement these alternative methods, utilize unbiased research and use whichever method works best in bringing about a cure. The health and well-being of the patient must become first and foremost, not one's bank account. 6. Education is imperative. We need to end the power struggles over which name, image or doctrine is used within our schools. There are universal principles and understandings which are the golden threads that bind all religions and cultures together. They are necessary for a healthy society and environment. We need to find agreement and teach these principles and understandings to our children as parents. Our schools also need to support these teachings. Science is merging with spirit. The latest breakthroughs in physics prove we all live in a sea of consciousness and energy where everything is connected. We all originated from the same source regardless of color or belief and share the same air, water and planet. What is done to one affects the whole. If one suffers, it is felt everywhere. This is why the Bodhisattva makes a vow to return to end all suffering. It is ignorance of our connection with each other and all life that is the source of crime, violence, wars and needless suffering. 7. You are not alone in the universe. The universe is filled with life. There are spiritually and technologically advanced civilization not just in this dimension but others as well. It is part of an unseen brother/sisterhood that loves you greatly. It is time to expand our views of the universe and educate our children to the existence of the grander reality. They are there waiting to assist on a grander scale, yet this must be initiated and earned by our own choice and action. There are more solutions to the growing pains of humanity. Templates, a physical example of how a spiritually and technologically advanced civilization in harmony with the environment would live, are manifesting around the world. It is where the knowledge would be preserved, where the tools to the awakening and healing process will be kept. There is a greater plan, yet this plan depends on us, our desire to change and work in the highest and best good of humanity and the earth. We have to become very clear in our motives and intentions with constant self-assessment, with brutal honesty as to the true motive and desire in all that we say and do. It is time to choose a spiritual, wholesome way of life in harmony with each other and nature. Our religion should be kindness. It is truly that simple. James Gilliland, author of Reunion with Source, Director of Self-Mastery Earth Institute at www.causekio.org and www.sfv